The weekend's here, so it's time to win with sports. I'm Joe Spano, along with the man that gets you to the pay window each and every week. He's Chris Long, and in this edition of Win with Sports, we're going to recap exactly how Chris Long and the Win with Sports crew got you to the pay window last week. We'll then look ahead to a ton of college football bowl action, and Chris has some great money-making opportunities in the world of sports handicapping as far as the college football bowl games. We'll then look ahead to all the action in a Week 15 NFL Sunday. Chris, I also know that you guys over at Win with Sports are really in the Christmas spirit, and you have some incredible opportunities for the listeners of this program as far as special deals and different things that you can get from Win with Sports.
Yeah, so Joe, first thing you got to do is give me a call at 1-833-95-SPORT. That's 1-833-957-7678. Or you can reach me on the web at winwithsports.com. And it's funny that you talk about Christmas spirit and Christmas season. I have in big letters here the word toy. You would think toy would mean for your children. You'd think you mean it's for your kids. But at Win with Sports, Joe, toy means total of the year. Okay? We have our total of the year going Saturday. It's a bowl game, a minor bowl game that Lenny C. absolutely loves to crush, these little tiny games that nobody's peeking about, because Saturday we also have 2 NFL games. So you got NFL going up against the college. So we're hoping the guys are going to be sleeping at the wheel. They did make a mistake here. We have our total of the year, and it is stronger. If you believe this, it is stronger than our Georgia play over Alabama. That was our game of the year, won easily. Now we have our total of the year. You got to give me a call, 1-833-95-SPORT or 833-957-7678. And guys, with the total of the year, again, it's a $500 value. You're getting it absolutely free, Joe. Free total of the year. All you got to do is sign up for any package. I don't care which one it is. A daily package, a monthly package, a yearly package, a bowl package. Any one of my package, you will get my total of the year absolutely free. 833-95-SPORT, 833-957-7678. And this is just the beginning. This is just the opening. We got a couple more segments. We're going to go into more into the college and the NFL.
Up next on Win with Sports, Chris Long and I will recap exactly how Chris and the Win with Sports gang got you to the pay window. That's next on Win with Sports. Joe Spano, Chris Long with you. No flipping. Well, Chris, let's kick off this segment of Win with Sports, telling everybody exactly how you and the Win with Sports crew, led by Lenny C., Mr. Smalls, took everybody to the pay window.
So last week was unique. We had just the Army versus Navy game. Not much to talk about there. The game was lined at 7 points, and it landed exactly on 7. Navy kicked a garbage field goal late. Garbage not to everyone. Garbage not to the guys who bet. So that game went from a 10-point Army victory and cover to a 7-point Army victory and tie, or a push on the side. It stayed way under the total. Those two teams match up well versus each other. But, Joe, if you remember, what did we slip in last week? I never expected to win this bet. We told you that we bet Kyler Murray to win the Heisman Trophy. We told you we took 20-1 about 5 weeks ago, before everything started to turn on its head. We took a flyer. I never expected him to win when I made the bet, but it was value. And we at Win with Sports, we bet value. We don't bet teams. We don't bet players. We bet value. Kyler Murray took the Heisman home in a rout. It wasn't even close. And that was a great prop that some of my guys are still thanking me about. But to get information like that, 1-833-95-SPORT or 833-957-7678, or reach us on the web at winwithsports.com. We do everything here. Props. Heisman Trophy winner was announced last week on this show, and Kyler Murray took it home, and he took it home in a landslide. Let's look at a couple of other things that we did here, Joe. If you, the NFL high rollers, 4-0. We had the Browns over the Panthers, the Niners over the Broncos, the Lions over the Cards, and the Bears over the Rams. That is a 4-0 sweep, ladies and gentlemen. 4-0 sweep last week. We will dive into each one of these. As you know, this segment is usually a look-back segment, and then we'll never talk about it again. Guys, 4-0 in the high rollers, and we have our total of the year going this weekend. You do not want to miss it. It is stronger than Georgia over Alabama from 2 weeks ago. It is the strongest play we will release the entire year. Now, that may sound sarcastic because the year has, about 18 days left, 20 days, 10 days. But you know what? It is our strongest play of the year. Total of the year coming up this weekend, 1-833-95-SPORT or 833-957-7678. Joey, everything to add before we break down a couple of these winners from last week?
Well, I do want to go back to the Heisman Trophy. Now, by the time we did the show last week, even I knew that Kyler Murray was winning the Heisman Trophy, and to me it was based on one thing: the volume of votes that were held until after championship weekend in college football. That led me to believe Kyler Murray was winning the Heisman Trophy. I talked about it here. I talked about it on my regular show on SB Nation Radio, and basically in breaking down the horse race, I was pretty confident that Kyler Murray was going to win based on how everything was setting up. But you guys were on it 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks ago. You had some inside information that guys like me didn't have until a week or two ago. You had it 6, 8 weeks in advance. What was the betting line on Kyler at that point?
So here's the crazy part about that. Like I told you, we took a flyer. We wanted it. We took a 20-1 shot. 4, 5, 6 weeks ago.
Well, that's what I'm driving at. It was 6 weeks ago.
Correct.
You guys had the inside knowledge that it was 20-1. You took your flyer there. On the Heisman Trophy Saturday, what were the odds on Kyler Murray?
So the weird thing is, as the week progressed, like somewhere around Thursday of that week, it started to become Kyler Murray time. Now, a lot of people out in Vegas speculated that there was a ton of Tua money early and people were just hedging. So they were caught up. They said, okay, people are just hedging with Kyler Murray. Tua's a foregone conclusion. Then Friday, we saw more Murray money. Saturday, we saw Murray. So, Joe, by the time it went off, get this, he was a 3-1 favorite. He was minus 3-1. So either the votes got out there and people just knew, or people realized, like you, about the people holding stuff. Now, you could have jumped in. You could have laid 2-1. At close, you laid 3-1. You still would have won, but nothing near what Win with Sports won. See, that's the kind of information. You would have laid 3-1. I took 20-1. Your $300 gets back $100. My $300 gets me back a car. So 1-833-95-SPORT or 1-833-957-7678 or winwithsports.com. That's how you reach me on the web. You will get little nuggets like that. And Joe, you pointing out the about the voters, I mean, maybe if you ever lose your job, you can come work as a handicapper for us.
Why not? But I don't think I'm losing my job anytime soon. But you guys have made me a whole lot of money since I started hosting this show, so I'm quite happy. It's a nice supplement to the income. And let's dive into the 4-0 in the NFL high rollers and kind of break down exactly how this all came together and how you guys ended up 4-0 and basically set it up for us.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go over what we did last week. See, now on the radio, I try to give a little nuggets here and there, but I cannot give you the gold. I can't do it. You got to pay me for that. You got to call me at 833-95-SPORT or 833-957-7678. But I do talk about things, and last week we talked about Cam Newton and his arm being like a noodle right now. You can see whenever they have a Hail Mary towards the end, they're bringing Tyler Heineke in there. If anyone knows who he is, he always comes in to throw that last Hail Mary. Cam Newton's having trouble getting velocity on the ball over 30 yards down the field. We took the Browns +1 over the Panthers. It was a 26-20 winner. It was a back-and-forth game. It wasn't really a blowout like the other three, but we really liked the Browns. They got rid of Hugh Jackson. They got rid of that total bonehead. I don't think he was a cancer. He's a nice man. He just doesn't know what he's doing. The Browns have just taken control after that. Browns +1 over the Panthers, 26-20 winner. It was more of a Cam Newton fade. A couple other games we looked at. The 49ers over the Broncos. 49ers +3 over the Broncos. Another clueless coach out there in Vance Joseph. They got a lot of injuries, left and right. Cornerbacks going down. Sanders goes down, the wide receiver. They have injuries all over the place. The 49ers, not that talented without Jimmy G, but Greg Kittle's just blowing up. Their quarterback, who is a rookie, undrafted free agent out of Southern Miss, he's playing well. They play hard. They run the ball. It was a good spot. The Broncos didn't deserve to be a field goal over anyone. So we took +3, 20-14 winner. The Lions, -2.5 over the Cards. Now, it was a 17-3 final, and I'm proud that we had that side and we won the game. That actually was closer than it looks. There was I think it was Darius Slay. I'm not sure who it was. Somebody had an interception return for a touchdown to make it 10, from 3-0 to 10-0. And then they got a late Zach Zenner drive where he got the ball 5 straight times and just drove it down the field against a Cards team that looked like they quit towards the end. But our final one is the one I'm most proud of, Joe. The Bears over the Rams.
The Bears.
Sunday night when everyone is chasing and everyone is going to go minus, Rams, over. We didn't do that. We took the Bears plus the 3 points. And, we liked the side. We knew it was the right side. We didn't know it was this good. Rams 6 points, 15-6. Is that right? I'm looking at my notes. 6 points for the high-flying Rams. The 33.5%, 33.5 points per game Rams. But we took the Bears. Another cakewalk, another cigar game. 833-95 Sport or 833-957-7678. You will get games like the Browns over the Panthers, 26-20 winner. The Niners over the Broncos, 20-14 winner. Lions -2.5 over the Cardinals, 17-3 winner. And the Bears +3 over the Rams, 15-6 winner. NFL High Rollers 4-0. We had nothing on Saturday for the High Rollers, but we did throw in the Heisman Trophy winner, and we did put it on this show. And guys, 833-95 Sport, 833-957-7678. I have my total of the year. Stay tuned for our next segment, Total of the Year, a breakdown of some bowl games. And then we also have the NFL taking full stage after these bowls. So I'm just going to tease a little bit of that NFL. Guys, don't go away. We'll do a little bit of college, and then we have the last segment being our NFL special. Go ahead, Joe.
Chris, the realities are everything we talked about here in this last segment is exactly why you need Win with Sports as your sports handicapping service. Because at the end of the day, it's about getting you to the pay window and getting you to the pay window with the best possible value. And everything we talked about in this last segment, particularly the Heisman Trophy voting and the betting on Kyler Murray and when you bet on him, is a prime example of exactly why Win with Sports is ahead of the pack and above the cut in the world of sports handicapping. Up next, we're going to go bowling, Chris, and we're talking college football bowls. They may not be ones that are very exciting to watch, but they present great opportunities to make money in sports handicapping. That's next on Win with Sports. Joe Spano, Chris Long with you. Be sure to keep it where it is. Win with Sports rolls on. I'm Joe Spano. He's Chris Long. And Chris, it's time to go bowling. The minor bowls start in college football, and there is a ton of them. And while these aren't maybe necessarily as interesting to sit down and watch with a bucket of popcorn and an adult beverage as the major bowls and the college football playoff games, these minor bowls present great opportunities to make money in sports betting and in sports handicapping because there's so many of them. The NFL is taking center stage on Saturday and Sunday. College basketball is in full swing. The NBA is going. The NHL is going. That sometimes these minor bowls, there are all kinds of lines and totals that are all kinds of out of whack, as it were, and they present great opportunities to make money if you know what you're doing in sports handicapping, and there's nobody that knows what they're doing better than the guys that Win with Sports.
Yeah, Joe, so this is my absolute favorite time of the year, the college bowl season, where we get these non-conference matchups where if you can find out which conference has been stronger over the year, or even better yet, as you're watching these games unfold, the Pac-12 falls to 0-4, you'll see that line against the next Pac-12 team to play just start to move. So this is the best time of the year, and you really need to be with a service like Win with Sports. You need to call 1-833-95-SPORT or 1-833-957-7678 or reach me on the web at winwithsports.com. Guys, This time of year, you need to have information. Information is absolutely crucial for the bowl season. And if you don't have it, you better pay someone who does have it. Someone like Win with Sports, someone like Lenny C., someone like our little round table at 833-95-SPORT or 833-957-7678. Joe, I'm just going to run down the games. We'll go one at a time. I'm just going to give everyone the lines right now.
But I do want to hold you up for a second. I know you want to get to these lines and these games, but, you talk about information. And information in bowl season sometimes can be a little different than information in season. And what I mean is, obviously with the round table, we've talked about it in the past, the combination of new school and old school handicapping methods, and only after you come to a unanimous choice does Win with Sports anoint a pick as worthy of being given out to your paying players. But with bowl season, it can be different as far as how you forecast these things. And that inside knowledge of teams that are going to come to play in bowl games and teams that are going to mail it in. That's something that's hard to forecast if you're on the outside looking in and don't have that inside knowledge like the gang at Win with Sports does. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so like I said, where information is king, let's say this is, week 8 of the college football season, and we have a matchup between Purdue and Michigan. It's pretty straightforward. Everyone's going to give their best effort. Everyone's going to be playing. But you know what, Joe? Come bowl season, this is I call it the Christian McCaffrey effect. I think he was one of the first guys to do this, where a healthy scratch in the college bowls. That was unheard of just 4 years ago. It was unheard of. Now it's like becoming the norm, and I can't stand it. But it does present opportunities for us. You need to know who is going to play and who is going to skip. Let's take a look at this slate here. Off the top of my head, I know I got Utah State minus 7.5 against North Texas with a total of 66.5. Well, Utah State's coach is moving on to greener pastures, and that happens, but let me tell you what, he's taking both coordinators with him. Utah State is going to play this game without a head coach, without an offense coordinator, without a defense coordinator. Joe, I'm not telling you who the winner is, but these are the kind of situations you need to read into. Is there a QB coach that knows the offense like the back of his hands, or are they just going to throw someone in there that doesn't have a clue? Famously, and I think it was called the old Barry Alvarez exemption in his contract, every time they got rid of a coach, or a coach was moving on, you remember when he used to come out of the booth and come on down and coach for one bowl game, and he used to get like a $250,000 bonus, the over AD at Wisconsin. Every year when they were moving on with coaches, he would jump out of the booth. I mean, he knew what he was doing. But are we getting someone cold? Are we getting someone who's on top of things? So those are things you need to look at. Appalachian State, minus 7 over Middle Tennessee State, total of 47.5. App State is going to miss their coach and at least one coordinator. I don't know if they're both going, but at least one is going. Joe, that's when I tell you need to know what's going on. And to get this information, 1-833-95-SPORT or 1-833-957-7678, or you can reach us on the web at winwithsports.com. You need to align yourself with a service. Now, Joe, I'm just going to let everybody know we have our total of the year, and it's going this weekend. Total of the year. It's stronger than Georgia versus Alabama, and you remember what we did with that game. We crushed that game, no doubt ever. Plus 13, leading by 14 in the second half. This game is stronger than that. It is on a total. It is on an over-under. Guys, absolutely free if you sign up for any package. Now, this is a $500 value. I'm giving it to you guys for absolutely nothing. All you need to do is come on board. Buy a 1 day, buy a 1 week, buy a 1 month. I don't care. Whatever you buy, I will give it to you absolutely free. Total of the year, this weekend, college bowls. Joe, take us around these games and we'll hit on each one of them.
Well, you had talked a lot about Utah State and North Texas. and the fact that Utah State is missing both their head coach and both of their coordinators. But you also have a host of other minor bowls that are taking place on Saturday. You got Tulane at -3.5 over Louisiana Lafayette. The total on that one, 59. You got Fresno State at -5 over Arizona State, a total of 54.5. You got Georgia Southern and Eastern Michigan. Georgia Southern laying 3 in that one with a total of 47.5. And you got Appalachian State, Middle Tennessee State, total of 47.5. Appalachian State, they're missing their head coach and at least one of their coordinators. So there's some primetime opportunities in these minor bowls, which may not be the kind of games you always want to watch, but they're great places to make a buck, man, and let's break it on down.
Yeah, and we won't forget about our NFL. There's also 2 NFL games on Saturday, but we're going to hold the NFL for the next segment, so please stick around. If you're interested in the NFL, we will break down the major games there and give you what you need. Give me a call, 833-95-SPORT or 833-957-7678, or reach me on the web at winwithsports.com. I have my total of the year going this weekend, and it's a $500 value. Absolutely free, and I don't like to give anything away for free. Lenny C's hates to give away anything for free, but you know what? This game is stronger than Georgia versus Alabama, and we remember the turnout for that game.
Cigar game classic, man. As far as whether you were going to go to the pay window and you were on Georgia, you knew you were going to the pay window very, very early in that matchup, and you lit the victory cigar up early. So you are spot on right about that. And if you think if this is a better play than that, man, I might as well light the victory cigar now.
Yeah, this is one of these no-brainers where at halftime you're going to say, why didn't I put more money on this game? That's what our guys do. They're like, wow, I'm thankful for this winner, but I wish I put more on it. Well, guys, 833-95-SPORT, 833-957-7678, or winwithsports.com. Bowl total of the year this weekend. Strongest play year to date. Absolutely free, just for buying any package. Now, like I was saying, bowl games are treated different. You must have the information. I can put out any computer number I want. If I don't read into it, I don't know what I'm doing. Now, for example, and I'll just throw coaches in and out of there. When you had Chip Kelly at Oregon and they ran a huge, up-tempo, just all over the map. If you replace him with let's say David Shaw over at Stanford, who runs a completely different program, what are your computer numbers going to give you? They're going to give you a number that makes no sense. Coaching and style make a difference, especially when you're betting totals. I'm going to look at this Fresno State game, and Joe, we're going to give out something for free here. I'm going to give one play out on these 5. Now, Fresno State is playing against Arizona State. It's a matchup between Jeff Tedford and Herman Edwards. Fresno's -5, and here is exactly what I'm trying to get at. N'Keal Harry, who is all-world wide receiver for the Arizona State Sun Devils. He is amazing. He's a difference maker, Joe. He's a Calvin Johnson of college. He's a Randy Moss. He is unstoppable when you see him against these college kids. He's going to skip this game. He's a healthy scratch. He's not going to play. So guess what? That's a little bit of an edge. I know it's already built into the line, but also Herman Edwards, and I don't know the name, so I'm not going to say it, but Herman Edwards said that their backup quarterback, Manny Wilkins, is a 5-year senior, send-off, swan song for him, but he wants to give the backup some time. Manny Wilkins is an all Pac-12 quarterback. I don't know what he means by that. I don't know how much time he's going to give the backup, but he wants to work him in because he's already looking towards next year. So we're going to have no N'Keal Harry. We're not sure what he means by Wilkins not going to play the whole game. We're going to go ahead and lay Fresno State, lay the 5. Normally in these WAC versus Pac-12, the Pac-12 has the talent advantage. That's not true in this game here. Marcus McMaryion, Jess Tedford, Mims, the running back, and they also have the other Keyshawn Johnson, I like to say, for you guys that are NFL players, the other Keyshawn Johnson. There's talent on the Fresno State side. No N'Keal Harry. Not sure how much Wilkins is going to play. Lay the 5 for your free play. But, guys, to get the gold, to get the total of the year, to get my best plays, 1-833-95-SPORT or 833-957-7678, or reach me on the web at winwithsports.com. And, Joe, we'll do the NFL next segment. Anything to add?
Nothing to add, Chris. You said it all. As you said, up next, Week 15 in the NFL. It's here, and Chris is going to tell you how to get to the pay window. That's next on Win with Sports. Joe Spano and Chris Long. Keep it where it is. Win with Sports continues. Joe Spano, Chris Long with you. Time to talk Week 15 in the National Football League. And we got a bunch of not only great games to watch with a bucket of popcorn and an adult beverage, but, man, there are some great money-making opportunities on this Week 15 NFL slate. And we're going to get to a bunch of those games right now. And, Chris, you've isolated the Raiders +3 at the Bengals. You guys at Win with Sports seem to really have a side in this one, and you have isolated some real good money-making opportunities here.
Yeah, so we got the NFL Sunday coming up here, just a couple of hours now, and we're looking at a bunch of different games, and I like your lead where you said, there's some great games, and then there's some not-so-great games. Well, for Win with Sports, they're all great games because they provide the same money-making opportunity in the Rams versus the Saints as, let's say, the Raiders and the Bengals. Who would have started there? But that's where we're going to start. Guys, before I get into this, 1-833-95-SPORT or 1-833-957-7678 or reach me on the web at winwithsports.com. I have a monster game going tonight in the NFL, and I don't want you guys to miss it. So give me a call, 833-95-SPORT or 833-957-7678. We're looking at the Raiders versus the Bengals, all right? They're going into Cincy. The Raiders are about a 3-point dog. The Raiders, we all know John Gruden totally blew up that team, and he had egg on his face. Amari Cooper and Khalil Mack. The Raiders are looking for a difference maker next year, Joe. They're looking for a difference maker. You know what they're looking for? They're looking for a Khalil Mack, and they're looking for an Amari Cooper. That's what they're looking for.
Well, maybe all those first-round picks they picked up in exchange for those guys might net them that difference maker. They better hope so, or John Gruden in a couple of years, despite the huge size of that contract, is going to be in deep trouble as the Raiders are at the bottom of the National Football League. Yeah,
and they already jettisoned Reggie McKenzie. He's gone, as they say over there. He gone. But now we got Cincinnati, who Marvin Lewis, I don't know how he has a job. I don't know how he keeps doing it.
I'll tell you, Mike Brown's cheap. That's how he's got a job. Mike Brown is the cheapest guy in professional sports, and that's why Marvin Lewis still has a job.
I wish I was Marvin Lewis. I am so jealous of Marvin Lewis. I wish I could be so bad at my job and just keep it. But I can't, so I got to
become a weatherman. They're bad at their job. They keep theirs.
So the Raiders, we got no A.J. Green, no Andy Dalton. I mean, Cincy, they shouldn't be laying points to anybody. Joe, I think
Why, with the immortal Jeff Driscoll at quarterback?
I think we can go grab some guys in the parking lot looking over my shoulder, and we can challenge the Bengals. If you gave me +3, I might take us. So this is just one of those games where I'm just looking at it. I mean, I don't know if it's going to make my official card just yet, but for you guys, Raiders +3 at Cincinnati, I don't mind giving that to you for a free play. Raiders, they don't know who's going to be on the team next year. So these guys, even though their season is over and gone with a long time ago, they're still playing for their jobs. We don't know. They might turn over their whole roster. If you're Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper and you can't hang around, well, then the backup center can't hang around either. So everyone's playing for a job. Look for an inspired effort, even coming off of a win over Pittsburgh, that shows you that they have it in them if they put it all together. Raiders take the 3. What's next?
Titans +2 at my beloved New York Football Giants, who have quietly been red hot and have been on quite a streak. They should have beat Philly a few weeks back, but over the last 6 weeks, it's been one of the hotter teams in the NFL. I can't say they're good, but they certainly are improved, and they're starting to put up some points, and they're laying 2 points at home to the Tennessee Titans.
Okay, now here's another situation with Win with Sports. I was huge, and I'm not saying I'm a Giants fan. I know you are. But we like to take the Giants when everybody falls off, when everyone's going against them, when they were having their struggles. They still had Barkley running all over the place. They still have Odell Beckham. Manning, yeah, he's older. He's a shell of himself. But he still can get it down the field every once in a while. He could still put up some points. The Giants, they started terrible. And we actually backed them in a couple of games when they were really bad. One against the Bears where nobody saw that coming. The Giants now, they won a couple in a row. They're hot. Like you said, they should have beat Philly. They also got beat by like a 60-yard field goal. Now people are starting to realize that the Giants are better than their record. They're a competent team. And you know what? That's what helps us in this situation to back Tennessee. Tennessee is the better team here, Joe. There's no question about Tennessee being a better team than the Giants. Now, I get my line value, my beloved line value. Like I said, if this game were played 4 weeks ago and the Giants were where they were and the Titans where they were, I guarantee you the Titans would be about a 4-point favorite at Giants Stadium. But you know what? It's being played now. Perception is key. The perception of these teams has changed. The Giants are now getting respect. Respect that, they're still the same team. They're just playing a little bit better. They're putting it together. I get to take Tennessee and 2 points. I'm going to go ahead and take and put the better team in my pocket, catching almost a field goal. And guys, again, I'm giving you some free plays over here on the radio show, but 1-833-95-SPORT or 833-957-7678. That's where you get the gold. That's where you get the high roller plays. That's where you become a winner. You go to winwithsports.com, and that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to win with sports. 833-95-SPORT. Or 833-957-7678. Come and be with the best handicapping service on the net. What else are we looking at, Joe?
The Rams looking to rebound off of their loss to the Chicago Bears. They're laying 11.5 versus the Philadelphia Eagles, who looks like they're going to be without Carson Wentz, and it's a team that really has just watched their season spiral down the porcelain commode.
Yeah, so here's a game that, I'm going to pass. It's a beautiful matchup if it were played last year. This could have been an NFC Championship game. I mean, that's a game that everyone had circled to be the monster game of the week coming up this week. Now, I'm a little annoyed that Carson Wentz is not going to play. We had this circled. We wanted to lay 7.5, 8. With the Rams, and that's what the line probably would have been had Carson Wentz been available. This is more a bet against their defense, their offensive line, their head coach. But now we lost some value. Rams minus 11.5. I'm not a big fan of laying double-digit favorites in the NFL. I don't care who's playing because they have the old cliche, any given Sunday, but it does hold true. I know it sounds like a cliche, but it is true. Any given Sunday, anyone can beat anyone. Look at the Giants beating the Bears. Look at way back when Buffalo beat Minnesota as a 17-point dog. How about when Arizona beat the Packers just 2 weeks ago that cost McCarthy his job? I'm just telling you, I can't lay it and I can't take it. I would have loved to have Wentz in the game and then laid about 4 points better. But just sit back, watch the game, enjoy it. Maybe load up on some Rams fantasy players for those of you who are in the fantasy playoffs. I'm just not going to play that game, at least for now. But I will have plays on other games, and you can reach me at 1-833-95-SPORT or 833-957-7678. Or reach me at winwithsports.com. Joe, that's a pass. What's next?
Well, before we go to what's next, I do want to get a little deeper into why it's a pass. And again, you like the Rams, they're the better team, but this is a prime example of you're no longer getting that line value that you need to make this a play. And I don't think that can be stressed enough. It's a lot more than just liking teams and liking situations. Line value can be paramount, and it's a difference between being a winner and being a loser, quite simply.
Yeah, that's correct, Joe. And I have a saying, and if you're listening before, if this is your first time listening, I repeat myself a lot because we have a lot of first-time listeners. But those who have been listening each and every week, I will tell you right now, the public, Joe, the public bets teams. The wise guys, the sharp guys, they bet numbers, okay? Win with Sports, you're going to bet numbers. It depends on what the number is. You're not going to bet a team. 1-833-95-SPORT or 833-957-7678 to get the gold. Got games like last week's 4-0 sweep. Browns, Niners, Lions, and Bears, perfect 4-0 in the high rollers. We expect to do the same this week and each and every week. Okay, Joe, that's a pass. What's next?
The Vikings laying 7 versus the Dolphins. The Dolphins coming off of that miracle win on the last play of the game over the New England Patriots. And the Vikings fire their offensive coordinator, John DeFilippo, and it looks like a season that is just getting away from Mike Zimmer and company.
Yeah, DeFilippo, I don't know if any of you guys listen to Michael Lombardi. He's very good on the NFL. He called this about 5 weeks ago with DeFilippo. He was the hot coordinator for the Vikings. He was the guy that was going to be the next Sean McVay. He was going to be the guy that was going to get the job.
Not anymore.
He was the guy, the hot, and what Lombardi had said was that you don't get jobs by running the ball. So he had Cousins throwing it on third. That game, Sunday night, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, he was constantly throwing the ball. Run the ball there, and I'm not saying you're going to get there, but at least you give the chance to go for it on 4th down. Lombardi called it. He's an excellent voice on this, but Filippo's gone. We're going to have a new OC. Here's a spot where you remember last week I mentioned that the Dolphin Stadium down there in Miami was a house of horrors for Brady, and you guys saw it all develop. And I didn't give you a play on that game, but I told you, for whatever reason, the Patriots go down there, and the Dolphins come out with a win and a cover, and I think they're 1-5 in their last 6 trips down there. But Miami coming off of a miracle, this is a spot where I usually like to bet the bounce factor, the lay down, the let down. They had their biggest win of the year. They're fully in the playoff chase. But after that emotion, after a crazy win like that, it's hard to get back up for a second week. Now, I would have been all over the Dolphins here, but the situation with coming off of a monster victory over a division rival, and not just a division rival, the number 1 team in the AFC East for the last, 100 years. But that's a huge monster win. Plus, I expect Minnesota to have a new coordinator. He might be auditioning for that job next year. I think he'll do a better job. Thielen, Diggs, Cousins, and Cook and Rudolph are awesome skill position players. So maybe he puts it together. Joe, this is another big bad pass here. New OC, let down after a miracle. I'm just going to leave that one alone.
Good opportunity for the Win with Sports gang to compile some data and perhaps have plays on these two teams as they move forward in the weeks to come in the National Football League. But I want to get to a game to me that really has grabbed my attention, and that's New Orleans laying 6.5, because in my mind they are the most complete and best team in the National Football League right now. They're at the Carolina Panthers. That is a team that has completely fallen apart, and it is a team that's probably going to be in the market for a new head coach come the end of the season.
Joe, you're not going to get anything out of me on this one. This is a monster bet for Win with Sports, okay? We have a huge play on a side in this game, and you mentioned it. New Orleans, probably your Super Bowl favorite. I think they're the most complete team. I wouldn't be surprised to see them hoist that Lombardi trophy come Super Bowl Sunday. But you know what? We got some information on this game. 833-95-SPORT or 833-957-7678 or reach me on the web at winwithsports.com. The Saints and the Panthers is my biggest NFL game of the year. All right, I won't label it a game of the year because college we had a bigger edge with that Georgia game. This is just my strongest play. We're not going to call it a game of the year. New Orleans against Carolina. We got some huge information in this game that we want to share with everyone. 833-95-SPORT or 833-957-7678. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, remember also, you've got Bowl Total of the Year. You've got, and that's free with any package at all from the crew with Win with Sports. So again, 833-95-SPORT, 833-957-7678. Up next, we'll tie a bow around this edition of Win with Sports. Joe Spano, Chris Long with you. You be sure to keep it where it is. Chris, let's tie a bow around this edition of Win with Sports. And man, You guys at Win with Sports are truly, truly in the Christmas spirit. You got that bold total of the year, which you'll give out free, a $500 value, free with any package. I want you to dive into that before we get on out of here. And also, you've got a great side on New Orleans and Carolina. You're not willing to call it a play of the year in the National Football League, but it's one of the best games you've seen all year as far as having a side and an opportunity to make some money. So take us home talking about that bold total of the year and that New Orleans and Carolina matchup and everything else you got cooking at Win with Sports as far as ways to make money in the holiday season.
So over this past hour, I've done everything I possibly could do for you guys. The only thing I can't do is dial the number for you. So guys, pick up that phone and start dialing this number, 1-833-95-SPORT. That is 1-833-957-7678, or reach me on the web at winwithsports.com. That's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to win with sports. Now, this segment, this hour, we went over our total of the year. It's my strongest play of the year going this weekend. Give me a call. You will get that absolutely free with any package. 833-95-SPORT or 833-957-7678. And the beauty of this is, I also told you we have a huge and monster game in the NFL. Carolina versus the Saints. We have a monster play there. So guys, call up. Buy a package. Tell me you want the weekend package, and guess what? You're going to get both of those games. Both of those games for just one low price of any package across the board. 833-95-SPORT or 833-957-7678. We got bowl season in full swing. I told you about the information you need, the reading you need to do, looking to these games. Look to see, it's not this year, but when you send the Miami Hurricanes to Boise to play in the Potato Bowl, or if you're sending someone to Hawaii, those things matter. Where people play, who's playing, who's coaching matter. 833-95-SPORT or 833-957-7678. I got nothing else to add, Joe.
All I'm going to say before we get on out of here, if you like losing at sports betting, well, then don't call. But if you want to make money and you want to go to the pay window and you want to have pockets full of cash, call 833-95-SPORT, 833-957-7678. For Chris Long, I'm Joe Spano. We'll see you at the pay window.